Alpen Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Greetings students once again for the continuation of the lecture of microbes in human welfare, continuation of the lecture. Now in the second part we are going to study the microbes in sewage treatment. Okay. Now before that just a revision sort of what we have already done the last part. I cannot do all over again everything, but just about that the bioactive molecule. I just want to remind you once again of the streptokinase. Now I already told you the streptokinase is used for the clot blasters. Okay, I just want to tell you something else with that. The clot which is also formed in the blood vessels is also called as thrombus. Okay, thrombus. Now that fatty deposits forms a plug in the blood vessels. Okay, and this is to be busted by using the thrombokinase. Second thing I told you about statins. Statins are produced by the yeast Monoascus purpureus. Okay, now from this yeast, Monoascus purpureus, statins are produced. Now these statins lower the blood cholesterol level of the blood. Now how does it lower? This is not there in the textbook, but you can just make a note of it. The statins inhibits the enzyme responsible for producing cholesterol. Now these statins which lower the blood cholesterol level, how does it lower? By inhibiting that particular enzyme which is responsible for producing cholesterol. Okay, please make a note of that as it is not there in your textbook. Now this part the streptokinase, cyclosporin A as a immunosuppressant agent, and this the statins which is produced by the yeast, these three things are very important. Again and again they ask in the medical entrance exams, and they also ask in the Goa board for 3 marks. Okay. Now let us continue the lecture. The next part of the lecture is your microbes in sewage treatment. Okay. Very interesting topic now. Now what is this sewage? What is a sewage? Here I have put the points, you can mark it on the textbook along with the lecture. Municipal waste water, major component being human excreta. Municipal waste water and the major component being human excreta is called sewage. Okay. Now this sewage contains organic matter and microbes, and these microbes are pathogenic. All this time we have studied about the microbes which are useful for the human life, which are useful in the household to produce different products, medical products, alcoholic products, household products. But these microbes which are present in the sewage, in the organic matter, they are pathogenic. Okay. Now sewage cannot be discharged into water bodies directly. If you put it directly in the water bodies will get polluted. Okay. So that's why we have the treatment of the sewage in STPs. In the textbook it is given as STPs. Please mark there as STP. STP is sewage treatment plants. Okay. To make it less polluting. So the sewage is treated and it is made disinfectant for these pathogens, pathogenic bacteria, and then it is done in the STPs or sewage treatment plants. Now treatment is done by heterotrophic microbes in sewage. Heterotrophic microbes which depend on the organic matter for their food. They disinfect. Now how all this is happening in the sewage treatment plants, we are going to study in this chapter. Okay. Now this is very important students. How is the sewage treated? Sewage is treated in 2 forms. One is the primary treatment and the secondary treatment. You can make a note outside your text solely there. Sewage treatment takes place by primary treatment and the secondary treatment. This is very, very important. Before I go in detail, I would like to show you a STP, sewage treatment plant. Now this sewage treatment plant is not shown in your textbook, just a crude picture is shown, but here I am showing it. Please pay attention for that. Now look here, Sewage treatment is done by primary treatment and secondary treatment. Now up to here is the primary treatment. Can you see this? Up to here is the primary treatment. Now what happens in primary treatment? The raw sewage which is flushed from our toilets. Alright, we go in the excreta, the feces, then water which is used for washing clothes, washing machine water, then the utensil water, everything goes as the municipal waste, right? So all that is called as raw sewage. This raw sewage is poured in comminators, and these comminators, they have screens. In these screens, the floating debris will be removed. In your textbook it is there floating debris, that we shall go later. First we will go through this. The floating debris are removed from the screens or filtered. Then from the comminator, the raw sewage comes here in this tanks. Now here this is called as a grit chamber. Okay, in the grit chamber, grit disposal is taking place. Now what is this grit? Grit is that small pebbles and soils and so on, which is not floating. Floating debris we remove here, like paper or sometimes plastic or toilet paper something, or sometimes unknowingly, mischievously sanitary napkins and all, whatever is thrown, all that comes from here. Okay, some cigarette, whatever it is. But the pebbles and the other soil and all is settled here in the grit tank. Now grit disposal takes place from here. Okay, and primary water which is a primary clarifier, this goes into the next purifier. Now this is called as primary clarifier. Now primary clarifier, here it is allowed to settle, the sewage is allowed to settle. You can see the clear fluid here. This clear fluid is called as primary effluent. Please pay attention to this. This clear fluid is called as primary effluent. Alright, and then raw or primary which is settled over here, the grit which was still remaining, here some of the grit is removed in the grit chamber and grit disposal is done, and here the raw or primary sludge, it is taken for sludge treatment and disposal. Now what happens to the primary effluent? This is very important. It is there in your textbook and I am going to do it later also. The primary effluent, is taken for the secondary treatment. And what does the secondary treatment consisting of? Secondary treatment, the effluent, what is effluent? The supernatant liquid, floating liquid, is put in the aeration tanks. Now these are tanks here. Now why these are called as aeration tanks, because air is passed in this tank by the air compressors. Okay, you can see the air compressors here and air is passed here. Now here in this aeration tank, here the bacteria flocks are formed here. Aerobic bacteria act over here to form flocks of bacteria. Now what are these flocks and all? We shall study later part of the chapter. I am just showing you the plant, and then from here it is taken in the secondary clarifier. In secondary clarifier, after the aerobic bacteria work on this effluent, okay, work on this effluent, it is passed on to the secondary clarifier. Okay, and from the secondary clarifier, the activated sludge comes back once again over here. Okay, it is returned to the sludge pump once again over here, and the pure effluent secondary effluent is taken out to be discharged in the rivers, discharged to surface water or tertiary treatment if required. Now here they use a disinfectant before throwing it out. They use a disinfectant for secondary treatment. Okay. Now sometimes the secondary effluent might require a tertiary treatment. It might be given a tertiary treatment, or it is just thrown out or just discharged into the water bodies, rivers, or for some irrigation and so on. Okay. Now this is just a brief this I have given you all, which is not there in the textbook. We will do the later part once again. Now This the sludge. Now the previous one, see what we have seen here, raw or primary sludge is formed here. And here this is the activated sludge. The why it is activated sludge? Because the bacteria are present. Okay, that's why it is activated. Now this sludge which is formed, is then sent to another tanks, for the another tanks for the anaerobic digestion. Okay. Now here I just try to put how the anaerobic sludge digester looks like. This is a anaerobic sludge digester. Alright. Now here the sludge is put in this and it is activated by the anaerobic bacteria. The anaerobic bacteria produce a biogas. This biogas is highly inflammable. It is used for other purposes which will come later in the chapter, and these bubbles are formed, and this clear water, clear or say purified water is thrown out from the outlet. Alright. Now let us come now to the actual part of the chapter which is there on your textbook. Now primary treatment, I want you to pay attention and mark on your textbook, because this question has been asked in the Goa board for 2 marks, the primary treatment. Apart from that, they have asked, about filtration and sedimentation. And also in the medical entrance and GSET, they have asked questions based on this primary treatment part. Okay. Now, what is primary treatment? It is the physical removal of large and small particles. Now, physical removal of large and small particles takes place in 2 steps. One is filtration and other one is sedimentation. Okay. Now, in your textbook write there with the form of arrow. Primary treatment takes place by filtration, put an arrow and write there floating debris. Filtration of floating debris are removed. And second one is sedimentation. What does the sedimentation contain? Sedimentation contains grit. And what is grit? Soil and small pebbles. This question has been asked in the medical entrance exams. Primary treatment consists of dash, filtration and sedimentation. GSET also they have asked. Okay. Primary treatment consists of filtration and sedimentation. Okay. And you remember what is sedimentation? In sedimentation, grit is separated, which consists of soil and small pebbles. Now, these primary treatment leads to the formation of primary sludge and effluent. This again can be a 1 mark question at the Goa board or 1 mark question for the, not 1 mark now, 4 marks it is. GSET was 1 mark. It has been asked also. So, NEET examination, this question will be like, this leads to the formation of primary treatment, leads to the formation of primary sludge and effluent. What is a sludge, student? I have shown you in that plant which I just showed you earlier. And effluent means the top layer of the fluid. That's why I showed you that plant, just to get a brief knowledge about it. Now, here once again I have given primary sludge are solids which settle. You can make a note on your textbook with the pencil. Please make a note on your textbook with the pencil. Primary sludge is solids which settle. This can be again a question in Goa board also we can ask, or we can ask in the medical entrance. This primary sludge are solids which settle. Here effluent, here I have already given it to you, is supernatant liquid, effluent, and this is further processed in secondary treatment. Here I have highlighted for you in red. Okay, so the effluent, see it is not the first part, the solids which settle, which are taken for the secondary treatment, but the effluent is taken for the secondary treatment. Make a note of it. It is not the solid which is taken from the primary, but the effluent is taken for secondary treatment. Now, here students, what is done? I just want you to know, effluent is taken to the aeration tank. Do you remember the aeration tank, students? Do you remember the aeration tanks which I showed you earlier? Effluent is taken in aeration tank. I already told you They are called as aeration tanks, because air is pumped and agitated mechanically. Air is pumped there and it is agitated mechanically by using the air compressors. I hope you all have understood that. Then later on, in this aeration tanks, growth of aerobic microbes into flocks. This is very important. Mark it on the textbook. Now before that I will tell you, this is the secondary treatment which we are doing. Please underline boldly. Secondary treatment has been repeated in the Goa board many times for 3 marks. Please, this is very important. You can copy this directly in your textbook and keep. Secondary treatment takes place in 2 parts. Aerobic activated by aerobes, aerobic treatment, and anaerobic treatment. Okay, please make a note of it. Secondary treatment is asked for 3 marks at the Goa board many a times. If I can remember, even this time I think it was asked. I can't remember right now, but it has been asked. Okay, what happens then? Growth of aerobic microbes into flocks happens in the aeration tanks. I have shown you that. It is there on your textbook also. Now, what are these flocks? Please underline boldly. What are flocks? This has been asked for 1 mark in the Goa board and you have to write it also in secondary treatment. Very important, and it has been asked in the medical entrance exam. What are flocks? Flocks are masses of bacteria associated with fungal filaments to form mesh. So, flocks are bacteria associated with fungal filaments. Fungus, you'll know, hyphae. Hyphae, last 11th standard studied about the fungus. Hyphae is formed. Okay, and it forms a mesh. Now, what does this flock do? Flocks consume organic matter in effluent and reduces the BOD. Now, what is the BOD? We are going to see in the next slide. But remember one thing, what is the function of flocks? Flocks consume organic matter. Organic matter, whatever is present in the sewage, in the effluent, and reduces the BOD of the effluent. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. Please make a note on your textbook, this thing. Please write it down in the form of points. Alright, if it is too much for you to write, you can get those sticker booklets, okay, and you can write on those booklets. But whatever you write, stick it to the textbook itself so that you don't lose it. Because this is a little heavy topic to mark everything on the textbook than the previous one. Now, what is BOD or biological oxygen demand? This you all are going to study in your practicals also now in the 12th standard. When our college, when our institutions start, we are going to do the practical on to find the BOD, biological oxygen demand. Okay. Now, what is BOD? Listen carefully. Mark it down on your textbook thoroughly. It is the amount of oxygen that would be consumed if all the organic matter in 1 liter of water is oxidized by bacteria. So, in 1 liter of water, okay, the bacteria will be consuming the oxygen. Okay. So, it is the amount of that would be consumed by the bacteria if it is to be converted. Okay. Now, this is directly I have taken from the textbook. Sewage water is treated till BOD is reduced. Okay. So, the sewage water is treated till the BOD is reduced. This also directly from the textbook. Now, what is this BOD used for? BOD is used to measures. Now, what is the BOD test? It measures the rate of uptake of oxygen by microorganisms, to oxidize the organic matter in a sample of water. Okay. So, the organic matter is present in the sample of water, that is disintegrated or reduced or totally disintegrated by this bacteria, and when they are doing that, they will consume the oxygen which is present in the water. Understood, So, hence BOD is the measure of the organic matter present in the water. So BOD, how much oxygen is utilized, or consumed, gives you how much organic matter was present in the effluent or in the water. So now what will happen here? A higher value of BOD indicates a higher level of pollution. Higher the BOD, higher will be the level of pollution. Now what is the pollution? Pollution is the amount of organic matter which is present in the water, in the sewage. So to disintegrate this organic matter, the bacteria will go on dividing and they will go on activating. So as they are living there, since they are aerobic bacteria, they will consume the oxygen. So more the oxygen they take, the biological oxygen demand will be higher. So higher will be the pollution. All these points, students, I have taken directly from the textbooks, and please mark them on your textbook. Okay. Now next is now what happens next? This also, the next part, the next paragraph on your textbook on the right hand side, next paragraph. First part was the aerobic bacteria working, the flocks working. Now what happens later? The next part. Once the BOD of sewage water is reduced significantly, effluent is sent to settling tanks. The effluent is further sent, the second one which I had shown in my plant, the effluent is sent to the settling tanks, and bacterial flocks are allowed to sediment, and this is called as activated sludge. I told you also when I showed you the plant, what is activated sludge? Activated sludge, is when the bacterial flocks, when the bacterial flocks are added to the sludge. Now, small amount of inoculum of the activated sludge is pumped back into the aeration tank. So the sludge is then a secondary treatment on that plant which I showed you, one cone like. I will show you once again. So when the sludge remains, aeration takes place, the flocks act, settling. And after settling, some of the water is taken out and some of the sludge, is sent back as a inoculum. You know what is inoculum for the previous one, and the remaining is pumped back. Then next is the activated sludge is transferred to large tanks called anaerobic sludge digesters. I have shown you a single tank also. Now this tank, the activated sludge along with the bacteria is taken to large tanks called as anaerobic sludge digesters. Okay, and here the anaerobic bacteria digest the bacteria and fungi further. Okay, the bacteria and the fungi. Okay, bacteria present, the fungi, mesh was there, so all that is digested. Now, what happens during that? Second one, single one I had shown you. I'll go back to that once again. Now, when this is happening, when the anaerobic digestion is taking place, when the anaerobic digestion is taking place, what happens? Biogas is formed. Now, what is this biogas? Biogas is a mixture of methane. I put it, highlighted it because it is predominant. H2S and carbon dioxide, which is very, very important. So a gas is produced, biogas is produced, which is methane, CH4, hydrogen sulfide H2S and carbon dioxide. This is released as the end product, and that is used as energy and is highly inflammable. I have already told you this is used as energy. Okay, and it is highly inflammable. Now please remember this, in the sewage treatment plant, methane is released, which is predominant, but along with that H2S and carbon dioxide is also released. This has been asked in the Goa CET also for the medical entrance exam, and in the other medical exam also this has been asked. Then later on, this effluent after secondary treatment is released in water bodies. This I have shown you in my plant. Effluent afterwards, after this BOD activated sludge and all is done, then it is released in the water after secondary treatment. Now just as a revision, I'll go back to the, I'll show you the plant again. Now see here students, I am showing you the plant once again which I had already shown. Just to remind you, see what is happening here, aeration tank. From your primary treatment it comes to aeration tank. Okay, then it forms a sludge, little sludge as inoculum is passed over here. Then the secondary clarifier over here. Okay, secondary clarifier, this is the activated sludge by the anaerobic bacteria. Now this activated sludge, this activated sludge will be acted by the anaerobic bacteria to produce the biogas. Okay, and then the effluent is called as a secondary effluent, which is disinfected and released or discharged in the water bodies, or it is once again sent for tertiary treatment. Okay. Now here once again I have put the anaerobic sludge digester here. You can see the, and once again I put it for you after explaining that so that you can understand better. The sludge, anaerobic sludge digester, here is the sludge. Here it is, sludge is passed over here, and can you see the biogas coming here? Biogas coming here, methane, H2S and CO2. Okay, and here is the outlet for this secondary effluent, either in the river or again for tertiary treatment. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. We are going for the next part. Now, I have just briefed it, I have summarized it because these plans, students, Ganga action plan and Yamuna action plan, it is based on what, as I have seen in one of the medical entrance exam about this it was asked. I can't remember whether it is Goa CET or elsewhere, but I have seen this question in the actual papers. So, Ministry of Environment and Forest, have initiated Ganga action plan and Yamuna action plan. And what are these Ganga and Yamuna action plans? To save these rivers from pollution. So, they might ask you a question based on this, pollution of what? The sewage treatment, okay, treatment of the sewage. Now, propose sewage plants so that the treated sewage may be released into rivers. Sewage treatment plants are proposed so that after treating the sewage it can be used in the rivers. Now see students, I just tried to put some plants which are present in Goa. Now this is a plant in Panjim. So this plant, I have not seen it myself, but I wanted some plants which are present in Goa. So we got this picture, I got this picture in Goa and I just put it here. These are the tanks and all, and how the water is treated. I think this is the raw sewage if I am not mistaken, because they have not given anything. It's a raw sewage, then it is going in the settling tank and they will be treating it. I have not visited it, but if you want, if you are interested, you can visit this plant. And here this is the plant in Margao. I know it, Margao, it is at Khareband itself. I myself have not seen. Okay, even though I am living in Margao, this is in Khareband, that's what I got this news here. Now here, this plant I think is shown as a picture in your textbook. Not this plant, but somewhat like this picture, they have shown in your textbook, which is not very clear. So this is the plant in Margao in Khareband. This you can see the sewage here, all the sewage here. Now that will be taken for treatment. Whatever I got on the Google, on the net, on the Google, I have put it for you for a Goa. Okay. Now, next part, students, microbes in production of biogas. Next part of your topic is microbes in biogas plant. Page number 176. I hope you all have kept your textbook open. Page number 176 on a textbook. Please, when you attend my lecture, keep a textbook open as well as the pencil. Microbes in biogas production. Okay. Now biogas, students, overall, what is biogas? Please write it down on your textbook. It consists of mixture of gases, methane, H2 and CO2. Biogas over here. In microbes, for microbes in using, for microbes to produce the biogas. And the earlier one, what is happening in sewage treatment plants, biogas is produced by the treating of the sewage. Please remember that. Biogas is produced during the sewage treatment, and during that time what is happening, methane, H2S and carbon dioxide is formed. Understood? No? So that there is always smell of the sewage. If you cross a sewage plant, there will be a smell of H2S, and you know the smell of H2S very well, being science students. And in 12th standard chemistry, you all are going to use H2S for your reaction. And in a laboratory, they always produce the H2S for the 12th standard students. 11th standard you will have not used it. Okay. So, in this, remember these two differences, the biogas in sewage treatment plants, is produced by the anaerobic bacteria during the digestion of the sludge. Whereas in this, here in this topic we are going to study the microbes which are used to produce the biogas. Now you know very well, I am going to tell you firstly, biogas is produced by the dung or the gobar gas plants. We shall go to it later. But here the mixture of biogas consists of methane and H2. Please make a note of it. H2 and carbon dioxide. So that H2S is not there, S is not there. Methane, hydrogen and carbon dioxide. This is very, very important. In the GSET also they have asked this question, and in the medical entrance also they have asked this question. Because if there is H2S on the food which we cook by using these gases, might start smelling of the fat smells, right? It won't be very pleasant. I am sorry to say that, but it won't be very pleasant. Now, in this mixture, predominant is the methane. And this methane is produced by the microbial activity and it is used as fuel. There is other one, other biogas in the previous one, what it is used for? As an energy, they said, energy and highly inflammable. Okay, they will have to think because there is H2S present here, whereas this is predominantly or thoroughly used as fuel. Now, here is the plant, students. This I have taken directly from your textbook. Okay, this I have taken directly from your textbook. If I am not mistaken, I think this diagram was asked in Goa City or one of the medical entrance exam, and some labeling was asked. Right now I can't remember because I didn't go through those papers thoroughly. I did only preparation for the Goa board. Okay. Now what happens here? Now how this biogas is produced? Now biogas is produced, from the dung or the excreta of the cattle. I have already told you, dung or the excreta of the cattle. Now how does this happen? Methanobacterium is present in rumen of cows. Herbivores, they have a rumen. Okay. So now methanobacteria are present in the rumen of cows. Okay. Bacterium is single, bacteria are present, methanobacterium are present in the rumen of cows. Now these break down the cellulose from food. Because the cattle eat the plant matter. The plant matter has cellulose. Okay. So they break down the cellulose from food and they excrete it in the dung or the gobar. Dung is also called as gobar. And from here the biogas is produced in the gobar gas or the biogas plant. Now what happens in this biogas plants? Here, now the biogas plants also, it is there in your textbook in the second paragraph on the right hand side is there. You can just underline it. The biogas plant consists of a concrete tank around 10 to 15 deep, and all the bio waste is collected. Bio waste is there, a dung is put there, a slurry is made, and the slurry is covered by a floating cover, dung and water, and then it has a cover there. Alright, and this cover goes on rising as the gas is produced. Okay, it goes on rising as the gas is produced. Here the gas is produced and the gas is coming out from here, and this is the gas holder. Okay, and the sludge, whatever is remain, after digesting the sludge, what is remain is later on used as a fertilizer. Now here I am explaining to you, gas which is produced depend on the microbes and organic matter they utilize. Because this biogas plant, they use the human excreta also elsewhere to produce the biogas. Now after fermentation, carbon dioxide, now overall I am doing all this thing, I am summarizing everything for you all to avoid the confusion. Okay. Now before that, no students, I would like to show you, before going to this, I would like to show you the gobar gas plant. I will show that later. Now can you see this gobar gas plant here? It is a huge plant. I have just taken a picture here, the gobar gas plant. You can see the tank here, okay, and here the sludge is put and this is a this picture I put of the plant. Now look here, what is the biodigester? Now biodigester here, the biogas is put. Now what happens here? The dung and urine is put in the biodigester. alright. And from this the biogas which is produced is used for cooking and for lighting, and then the biodigester remaining fertilizer is used for the plants. Okay. And here the plants grow and used by the animals. The fertilizer is used for the growth of the plants, and then it is used by fodder, then once again it give us dung, and it is a cycle. Okay. Now, I would like to show you this. Now, this you can note it down somewhere in your textbook, you can write it down. Gases produced depend on the type of microbes and the organic matter they utilize. This is one point I want to note it down just to summarize. During fermentation, no carbon dioxide gas is released. Fermentation in the previous part, the first part of the lecture what we have studied. Now, certain anaerobic bacteria called as methanogens. Now, these methanobacteria are commonly called as methanogens. Please note it down on your textbook. It is there on your textbook. Page number 176. Anaerobic bacteria, the methanobacterium, which are present in the rumen of the cattle, they are called as methanogens. Now, these methanogens feed on the cellulosic material. In the biogas plants, they feed on the cellulosic material because the dung contains the cellulose material because cattle eat the plants. Now, they release the methane, carbon dioxide and H2S. Please make a note, this is a summary. Whereas the methanogens, the anaerobic bacteria in the sewage, secondary sewage treatment, in the sludge digesting, activated sludge digesting, there are also methanogens there, that is why they produce the biogas there. They are anaerobic sludge of sewage. When these methanogens act on the anaerobic sludge of sewage, they release methane, carbon dioxide and H2S. Okay? These I have summarized for you, so that you don't, all these three things you write together, because there can be one application type of question in the Goa board, or there can be medical entrance question also for your medical entrance exams. So, you should remember all these times we are talking about this only, carbon dioxide fermentation everywhere, then the biogas in STP plants as well as in the Gobar gas plants. Okay. Now, next part of the chapter, second last part of the chapter we are doing, students, microbes as biocontrol agents. Next part, microbes as biocontrol agents we have to do on page number 177. Please open your page number 177. Now, what is the meaning of biocontrol? Now, biocontrol is use of biological methods for controlling plant diseases and pests. Use of biological methods, okay, to control the plant diseases and pest. Now, in modern society what we were doing, we are using insecticides, pesticides, chemicals toxic and harmful to humans and animals, and also polluting the environment. So, because they are toxic, insecticide, pesticides are toxic, they contain chemicals and they spoil our soil also. Environment, soil, they spoil. Because of that, we are trying to go for biocontrol, and we say these are organic foods. Okay. Now, here what is this organic farming? I have taken all these points from the textbook. I thought it might be important for you all to remember. Goa board, we have never asked a question based on this, but actually a question of 2 marks can be asked based on this, about organic farming, because everything is there on the textbook. Okay, this is a 6 marks topic. So, everything is there on the textbook, and everything I want you to mark in your textbook. Organic farming believes in health benefits, as in this method no chemicals are used to kill pests but are controlled by natural predation. Okay. Organic farmers create a system where insects which are pests are not eradicated but kept under checks and balancing the ecosystem. Why they have to be kept under check? Because the beneficial, there is a prey and predator system there. In an ecological environment, there is a prey and predator system there. So, if the predators do not get the prey, it will be affected, which you will study in the other chapter on population, in the another chapter in ecosystem, in that you all are going to study. Now, eradication of the pest is undesirable, as without them the beneficial predators or parasitic insect which depend on them will not survive. This I have already told you. Now, biological farming approach is upon the inhabitants of fields, predators as well as pests. This is very important. Biological farming depends upon the inhabitants which are present in a field or an area which you want to use or grow, utilize for organic farming. Then the predators what are present. There should not be less prey and more predators also, as well as their life cycles. How is their life cycle and the patterns of feeding and habitats. Okay? And this helps in development of biocontrol. Please keep this in mind. You can just mark it and go through it. Now students, what are the things which are present? This is there directly on your textbook on page number 177. They are directly there. Now this ladybird, you all have seen this ladybird. I have put a picture of the ladybird. It is there on your textbook also. The ladybird, it is a beetle with red and white markings. Okay, this ladybird, is feeding on aphids. Okay, this aphids, these aphids which eat the leaves and destroy the leaves. So this ladybird will be eating the aphids. Alright. Then same way, can you see the dragonfly? Dragonfly, birbuti you say, birbuti I think you say, I don't know what you all say, this one birbuti. Okay, so this dragonfly, okay, it is feeding on mosquitoes with biters, it will feed on that. This is also there in your textbook. Now what is that? In this microbial biological agents, in the chapter, in this chapter that microbial biological agents, we are going to study 3 types. I want you to mark this on your textbook. I want you all to make a chart like this on your textbook. They are of 3 types. Bacillus thuringiensis, okay, which is also called as Bt cotton, which you will study in biotechnology and which consists of bacteria. Then Trichoderma, a fungi, and Baculovirus, a virus. Okay, these 3 things we are going to study. Now this students Goa board they have asked 1 mark question. Even medical entrance they have asked 1 question. But 1 year in 2015 in prelims, a full question of 3 marks was asked on this, which are the microbial biocontrol agents used for the organic farming or as microbial agents. So that's why I put it in the form of a chart, then you can write the points later. Alright. Now the thuringiensis is introduced to control butterfly caterpillars. You know very well that these butterfly caterpillars, they destroy the leaves. Can you see? These leaves are totally destroyed by the larvae. Okay, butterfly larvae, it is totally destroyed. Okay, now how this destruction by these caterpillars is done? How this is done? Now this Bacillus thuringiensis, is available in the form of dry spores in sachets. Now this is mixed with water and sprayed on Brasiliaca and fruit trees. Okay, on Brasiliaca they attack the caterpillars, the larvae, the pests attack the Brasiliaca and fruit trees. The spores are then eaten by the larvae. The spores are then eaten by the larvae, and in the gut of the larvae the toxin is released and the larva gets killed. In the gut of the larvae the toxin is released. Now here you can see that larvae is dead. The toxin is dead and they get killed. Other insects remain unharmed. Now this is called Bt cotton. You are going to study in biotechnology applications. Okay, I don't know whether that chapter is already taken, but you are going to study in detail. Now here I am showing one. Here I have given here also. B. thuringiensis toxin genes are introduced in plants like cotton called as Bt cotton, which are resistant to insect pest. Okay, they are resistant to insect pest. Now here in presence of Bacillus thuringiensis, here Bt cotton, whenever there is Bt cotton, the Bacillus thuringiensis is present, here the larvae will ingest the bacillus, they will ingest the bacillus and it will get into their gut. You know that when they get into the gut, because of the alkaline nature of the gut, the gut bursts and the larvae is dead. And This one, the B, in absence of Bacillus thuringiensis, in absence of Bt cotton. When this Bacillus thuringiensis is not present, no, the leaf is thoroughly eaten. You must be knowing, students, even that lemon tree, no, I have a small lemon tree at home and these caterpillars are really destroying my tree. Morning you see one caterpillar, by evening the entire leaves are, a small plant, I have a small plant. This is, and I don't feel like killing this, I just remove and throw it away. You have seen their favorite is they eat the lemon trees. Okay. So, here you can see that. Now remember one thing, this is there in your textbook, you can mark it also. How this Bacillus thuringiensis is used in the fields, in the common, in absence of the actually introducing in the plant. Bt cotton is a plant wherein this Bacillus is introduced in the plant. But when it is not introduced in the plant, you know, you find this Bacillus thuringiensis in sachets in the form of white powder. So that is mixed with water, you know, and sprayed on the plants. At home also if you have plants, you spray something on that. It depends, usually we spray insecticides and all, but you can use this organic matter. So when this is remaining, you know, especially brassica and fruit plants. So when this is sprayed, the spores become active, or spores of the bacteria, the spores are actually bacteria, they become active. And when this pest, the larvae of butterfly or caterpillar, they start eating the leaves, no, the spores get inside their gut and they die. Okay. Now here that was bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. The next is trichoderma. Now trichoderma here is a fungus. Okay, you know that very well. Trichoderma is a fungus. Now here it solubilizes phosphates and micronutrients. Okay, the application of trichoderma strains in rhizosphere of plants increases the number of deep roots, thereby by increasing the plant's ability to resist drought. I just want you to make a note of it. Okay. Now this here, this is with trichoderma, see how luxuriantly the roots are growing, and without trichoderma, see how the roots are actually, they are actually stunted, and here they are growing luxuriantly. Okay. Now the application of trichoderma strains, no, in rhizosphere of plants, in the plants increases number of deep roots and their ability to resist the drought also. Okay, the drought also. Alright, and how they do it, you know, they will strain the solubilize the phosphates and micronutrients, solubilize these phosphates and micronutrients which are present in the soil. Now here, next one is the baculovirus. Now this also make a note in your textbook. Baculovirus, you know, example is Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Now what happens here? Okay, when this baculovirus is, now this is a virus, huh? Baculovirus is a virus. The other one, Bacillus thuringiensis, was bacteria, whereas this is a baculovirus. When it is sprayed on the, here we are spraying it on the leaves, insect feeds on leaves with baculovirus. So the insects, you know, and this is a caterpillar, say. So it's a caterpillar. So when you spray this on the leaves, the insect will feed on the leaves along with baculovirus. It goes in the midgut. In the midgut, no, dissolving of occlusion bodies in the midgut and releasing of virons. The viruses are released here. Okay, these are normal cells and these are infected cells. Virus particles replicate and disintegrate the host cells. Virus particles replicate and disintegrate into host cells. Okay, they attack insects and arthropods. Okay, they attack the pest insects and arthropods which destroy the plants. Now one thing is important, that they are species specific. They are species specific. Narrow spectrum insecticide application. Okay, species specific narrow spectrum insecticidal application. Now desirable to, now what is this essential for? Desirable to conserve beneficial insects or when ecologically sensitive area is treated. Now this application now will conserve the beneficial insects, okay, and when ecological sensitive area is treated. Okay. So, the next slide. The last part of the chapter is the microbes as biofertilizers. Last part of the chapter. This also I am doing it in the form of a chart. I want you students direct, there is nothing much explanation over here. I want you to copy this directly on your textbook, biofertilizers. Directly copy on your textbook. Okay. This has been asked as a 3-mark question many times in the board examination. Alright. Now here 3 are there: bacteria, fungi and cyanobacteria. All these 3 you all have studied in the 11th standard. So, I won't explain to you much, you have already studied it. Now, bacteria, one example is Rhizobium, which are present on the leguminous plants, symbiotic association, they fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere. These are, remember one thing, Rhizobium is present on the roots of the leguminous plant. Now, in this there are also free living bacteria in soil. Azospirillum and Azotobacter, they also fix the atmospheric nitrogen from the atmosphere, but they are free living in the soil. This question has been asked in the Goa CET. Okay, so remember these 2 things, Azospirillum and Azotobacter, both fix nitrogen and they are free living in the soil. Whereas Rhizobium bacteria, all of you know, they are present on the roots of the leguminous plant. Second one is fungi. This also is studied in the 11th standard. Fungi is association with the plants forms a mycorrhiza. Okay, the example which you all are having now is Glomus fungal symbiont. Glomus fungal symbiont, what does it do? Absorbs phosphorus from soil and passes it to the plants. This also has been asked in Goa CET examination. Now, plants with such association have resistance to root-borne pathogens, tolerance to droughts and salinity. This is very, very important for 1 mark. So, plants which are in association with this Glomus fungal symbiont, their resistance to the root-borne pathogens which are infecting the root plants, also tolerance to drought and salinity. Okay. The last one is the cyanobacteria. These are autotrophic microbes, once again in 11th standard you have studied. Okay. In aquatic and terrestrial environments, fix nitrogen. Example is Anabaena, Nostoc and Oscillatoria. These examples you should remember, Anabaena, Nostoc and Oscillatoria. Okay. Now, these serve as important biofertilizers in paddy fields. Now, cyanobacteria, there is the blue-green algae, add organic matter to soil and increase fertility. Okay. This is very, very important. All the 3 types, the entire topic of biofertilizers, I have covered in this chart form. You can write it, watch the lecture, watch the video, watch the lecture and write it directly in the form of chart. If you write it in the form of chart, it is very easy to remember and to understand both for 3 marks as well as for 1 mark. Okay, so make it a chart. Even the previous one, as biocontrol agents, make it a chart. Bacillus, then Trichoderma and the baculovirus, which will become easier for you. So, thank you students. I hope I have been able to explain whatever possible. I have done my best. Now it is up to you to do your best. Thank you students.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.
अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस।